in Berlin winter, so it's snowing outside. And during the night, it was minus, some days ago, it was minus 17 degrees during the night.
Minus 17 degrees. Outside right now, it's 33 degrees out there.
I love summer.
It's summer. 11 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. Let's talk about your work. For you, Carlo Stanga, what's the importance of the drawings in the life of the people who see, who admire, or we have anything to do about drawings? What's the importance to the drawings and the art in the life of the people? I want to know from you.
Well, I don't know. Of course, I draw just the things I am inspired by. So I begin always by drawing something that I need to draw. I think this is always very important for an artist. When you need to do something and you understand that you are an artist just because you have this big need, you have to do it. It's not just something, and you are very inspired. For example, when I have a client and ask him for something, I say yes if I like this job, and I'm very inspired by this. Also storytelling that there is behind this image and everything. So, and this is normally what I do. Of course, when I do my books that I do on myself, it's just a personal project, and before to publish them, and I choose the city and everything. Of course, I'm very inspired by this particular city, by this particular colors, climate, history. And so it's always about inspiration. So inspiration is like a very big enthusiasm that you feel inside of, in ancient Greek, enthusiasm means to have a god dancing inside of you. So it's something super. Oh, you have to dance somehow.
It's bigger than us. It's bigger.
It's bigger than you. You want to go outside yourself. You want to go out there and embrace and hug the world and begin to feel these colors, feel these lines and everything. So if you really like and you feel something, and you are able to transfer all these things you like on a piece of paper, so you are pretty sure that the result will be nice. The problem is always this, let's say, border between the piece of paper and your imagination and what is outside of you, because the sheet of paper is very flat and you have to put everything there. So it's really a challenge somehow. But with your experience, with the pleasure in doing it, you can reach nice results, of course.
Nice. So in base of that, the art touch the people, right? The art touch people in some different ways.
Yes.
Depends of the person and everything.
Yes.
So where you think the color entered in your art, which the purpose to the coloring in your drawings? Because when you put on Instagram, I follow you on Instagram, and sometimes you put the drawing in white and black, and the next picture, the coloring one, the same picture and the coloring one.
Yes.
And I think it's going outside the paper, the drawing when you put the colors going outside the paper. Is that the feeling that you have? Is that the purpose of the color to you?
Yes, I for a long time I was just drawing in black and white. Just with this fine outline, and I was not so keen on coloring. But then later I began to color, and it was different. The difference between black and white and colors. I say wine. I like wine also. It's another black and white, and it's that generally you can consider psychologically the outline part in black and white like a structure. So somehow the rationality, the rational part of your brain to create this structure, to find out the architecture and everything. So it's more rational than emotional. And the colors are feelings. In fact, if you consider the different kind of colors, we also, when we speak about color, we think about love or passion when we think about red. Or blue, also in English, you can say blue to say you are sad. Or yellow is jealousy in general. Or there are many different kind of connections between colors and feelings. So I think mainly, I don't think it's really black and white. It's more, there is a kind of gradient. But generally, if you want to cut it in a very clear way, you can consider black and white. So the drawing itself, like the rational part, and the colors like the feelings you put inside later. The ability, because colors are light vibrations, so it's something very alive, something that is moving. The line is just there, but of course you can create a very emotional kind of speech when you do also black and white drawing. Because black and white drawing are very connected with the way, of course, you draw, your style, your line, the perspective. If the perspective is very dramatic, very strong, or if it's very flat, it's very different. So you can speak about different kind of feelings also through black and white. For example, there's an artist. An Italian artist that is Piranesi is the name. Piranesi was making incredible drawing. He was an architect, but mainly he drew for all his life. And it was Venetian, and I speak about 300 years ago. And it was making incredible, wonderful drawing in black and white. And they are so moving, so strong, even though didn't use colors.
We can say like the colors are connected to the mood when you're drawing, or it's not. So if you wake up in the morning and you feel happy, you think this is important to your drawing, or if you are upset, or if you are angry, or anything, you think your mood influences directly in what you are drawing?
Well, I am an illustrator. I'm not a painter or a pure artist. So illustrator means that you do an applied art. So it's an art that is connected with, for example, it has different kind of goals. For example, it's a magazine, it asks for me a cover. And other things. I can do many different things, but it's always inside a frame of a particular goal. So professionally speaking, I have to be connected with this kind of goal, So if someone asks me to do something, I have to do something that is connected with, for example, I have to make a cover about Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro, and I go to find out the colors of the city, and I enter in a different world. I must say that if I am in a bad mood in the morning or something like that, I try to wait a little bit, because in the afternoon is my best moment to work.
Nice.
Or a little bit crazy in the morning. I'm not very awake. And so I try to wait a little bit and find the best mood. But in any case, drawing is also a kind of meditation, is a cue, is a medicine. So when you begin to draw, you are entering a new world. That world. If I draw Sao Paulo, I am in Sao Paulo somehow with my brain, with my mind. And so I'm doing it. I'm feeling in this city. I drawing something from Lina Bobardi, for example, or
Uh-huh.
and I feel like being there. I'm not here in my studio, but I am there, and so I am also surrounded by this feeling. So it's very important. Sometimes people tell me also when I'm outside with friends eating, not in lockdown now because we are in lockdown, but in better times, they say, "Oh, what are you thinking about?" Because sometimes I'm going back to this kind of feeling, with this kind of mood, like when I am drawing on my piece of paper or at a walking tablet. So sometimes it's like really a kind of meditation that is taking you off from the reality, and you are feeling in another world. So somehow it's also a way. It was a right question about the mood, but drawing definitely is a way to cancel, to erase completely a bad mood. Can be.
Nice, very nice. So it's the best of the world. You travel the world from where you are.
Yeah, somehow, yes.
You travel the world from where you are.
It's perfect for the lockdown because you can travel despite lockdown, so it's perfect.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We are talking about colors because some people who follow your work here in Brazil, many times talking to me, they say like, "Oh, Carlo put some colors in some places in the drawing that I didn't even imagine to use that color in there." So that's what I think it's interesting in your illustrations. You surprise me with your colors and where you put the colors. So the sky, it's not the sky is blue, but it's not a rule for your illustration. This, or it can be. So use the colors in a free way, and I want to know. How do you put some colors that the people even imagine to put there, and you put it, and it's great? How do you do that? How do you see your drawing? You see the draw concluded, or you are going to work in some colors and the things will be appearing in front of you?
Normally, I know at the beginning what kind of color to use, because when you begin to work, when you are starting, you already have the goal, the final result in your mind. So sometimes the color is the main effect that you want to reach in this work. So it's very important for me, yes, the colors. And speaking about why I use sometimes color who are not expected to be on the object or sky or everything. The sky, first of all, is not just blue, but can be pink, orange. It depends if it's sunset or everything.
Yeah.
But in general, you should to go out of the stereotypes and think that everything can be colored in a different way, also connected once again with your mood.
Yeah.
So you can decide to do it. And the drawing art is really a land of fantasy. You are allowed to do everything. And so why should I make, a furniture brown? If like children who are doing always the same things, if they did not have a good teacher, they try to do always the same thing with the same color, like in the reality. But it's very beautiful to change, because I'm not a photographer, and so I like to give the idea of what I want to tell people, what I have in my mind, and so it's completely different. I have a very good teacher I worked with. It was the very famous designer Bruno Munari, and Bruno Munari was making workshops with children when children are beginning to draw, and they need to have an approach with drawing, with art that is not like being in a prison.
When you erase something, how do you do when you when you put the color, you think, okay, this color will be fine here, and you put the color there, and you saw the drawing and said, no, it's not that what I'm thinking. What's your what thing make you saw the color and see it's not this? I have to put.
I must say that it doesn't not happen so often. This because first of all,
Nice.
one of the secrets is to use a few colors, never too many colors. Many colors are good just for carnival. So maybe but you need always to use a few colors. If you go to see my illustration, for example, I don't know, I use between 5, 10, 12 colors, but not so, because you need to create a mood and create many contrasts. So you can put a blue near an orange. I like very much this petrol kind of colors like green and blue and orange, for example. Pink, that is very nice with orange. Like in India, for example, they use a lot of orange and pink. And so you can use a few colors and to be so courageous to keep something in black and white, because it's if the unfinished work gives you an idea about a progress in the future. It's not finished like that, like in putting it in the fridge and close, it's finished. Unfinished. So if it's partly unfinished, is like if you are looking at a work in progress and it has a dynamic idea of the work. So I keep many times many work just like unfinished because I like it. So you have to decide when to stop and not finish it.
Nice. And this is hard. I think this is the most hard part.
I don't know what is hard. I just know that is experience. I don't know exactly what is hard. I know that psychologically, as I told you before, an artist is someone who really needs to do it. Doesn't matter if it's for the other people what he is doing is not beautiful, is not interesting, is shit, something like that. But what is important is that this artist needs to do it. He is happy because he thinks that he's able to speak about his interior life or something about the world he wants to speak about. And especially if there is somehow is not comparable to others, it's very unique. Another thing is that when you see something drawn by this artist, you say, oh, it is Picasso. It's very clear. It's just unique. And this is very important because he is able to bring his world inside the real world. I don't know if it's real, the exterior world, because both are real.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I think it's mainly like this.
Nice. So I think most of people didn't connect the dots between the importance of your research, your search for the. You said about India. When you do a drawing, and you give the other example about São Paulo, you have to do a research about the city to know the culture of the country, to know the culture of the place that you are drawing. And some people didn't connect these dots. What's the importance of the research from the place you're gonna draw for you?
Well, it's very important when you have to do a book about this, and you have to make a drawing of a corner of a city, because if you are aware about the city, because you studied about the history of the city, you are, to know a city is like to know, to get knowing a person. So when you don't know anything about this person, maybe you don't feel safe. You don't know if it's bad or good. It's not clear. But if you know someone very well, this person is going to be more fascinating, more interesting, or not. Maybe also maybe it depends on what happens. But normally with the big cities. Is always very interesting to get inside a big city to begin to study it. So when you study a city, when you deepen this city, you once again are beginning to feel a kind of enthusiasm about the city. And if you are able also to walk in these streets, and you are able to lose yourself also in the streets, because you are beginning to feel this city very close to you, because you studied a lot about its history and everything. You are speaking with the inhabitants of the city, you begin to understand better everything. So when you have to draw this city, you already are in contact with this kind of person city, you know, better, and you feel like drawing a friend, or having to do with, or a familiar, or someone from your family, or someone that is very connected to you. And for sure this drawing will be more interesting, because you feel it much better. You have a kind of enthusiasm about it. So it's very important for me, doing books about cities, to study very well the city, to make a lot of research, to read a lot of books, history and everything. It's quite long, because for every book it takes about 1.5 years to do one.
Oh, nice.
And of course, you have to stay in the city sometimes, to go in different seasons, because there are cities like, for example, here Berlin or New York, they are completely different. Between summer, in Berlin we have 38 degrees, in winter we have -10, so there are two different cities.
It's different. It's completely different colors as well.
Absolutely.
When you are,
so you need to visit these cities, because now we can walk on the river, because they are iced, frozen, and so you can walk there. In summer we can swim. It's different. It's green, and in winter is gray. So it's completely different. It's not. I prefer summer, of course, but someone prefer also winter, because it's a taste. And so it's not good or bad. It's just different. And it's very important to get in touch with this kind of also changing of mood of this person city that you are going to know. So it's important.
Very nice you said about the seasons, because I finished my master degree in urbanism here in Brazil, and I have to study at some specifically locations in the center of São Paulo. And I have to visit in a different hours, because in the morning it's something, in the lunch hour it's other things. Completely different because of the each day of each person, it's different. So the place reflects this in the city.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important.
And you think that your reading about the landscape, it's have to be very, very perfectly, because if you don't put in the paper what you are, what you want to pass to the people.
Yes.
So when you do a book, you do the research and everything. You said 1.5 years with all this included.
Yeah.
Since the research to the end of the book.
Because it's somehow parallel. I mean, I keep in reading. In the meantime, I also draw, and maybe sometimes I go back to the drawings because I read something and I have different feelings. So it's just like I don't know, like to cook, to make
nice
food in the kitchen. So it's a very long. Of course, I began with cities I knew before very well, because the first city I made was Milan. It was my city in Italy. Then London and New York, and now I'm going to make probably Rome. But they are all cities I already visited several times before, and I knew very well. It would be very nice, for example, to depict Sao Paulo.
You are more than invited to my office. More than invited. It will be a pleasure.
My pleasure. Great. So I would like very much to do something also in Brazil, because I have many people who are following me in Brazil, and I like very much warm countries, warm people, and colors, and so it would be nice to paint very long shadows on the buildings, this kind of. I would like very much to do it. It was very nice for my course in Domestica recently to discover Mexico City. I already knew Mexico City before because I was there twice before, years ago, and so this was the third time. And it was at the beginning of the lockdown. It was really crazy because I was the time and the airplane going there was really crazy. But it was wonderful because I discovered many things about this big city, and it has been really fantastic because every district also there, it's very different from the other, and it's you enter every time in a new city by passing from a district to the other. So it's very rich, very faceted, very it's a big discovery every time. And so it was a big experience, even though I didn't know so well the city, but I also began to study, to prepare myself about the city. So it's always very important to also to read not just the simple tourist guides that are very sometimes also boring or somehow useless. It's just a mainstream. But if you are going to read also, I don't know, a novel that is where the city somehow is the background, is the scene, but still it is a protagonist, like in a Woody Allen's film about New York. So it's beautiful because you understand the way people are living in that city, which is the relationship between people who are living there and the city, what the city allows you to do, what is the energy you can find in the city. So it's also very important to see films, to read novels about the city, not just touristic guides. This is the less important.
Yeah, nice. So when you start a work, example again, São Paulo. When you start some work in São Paulo about the city, about MASP Museum in the Paulista, you start the drawing in your paper, or you do some sketches on the digital directly?
No. I never use the digital directly. The digital is just a concept. As I show in my course, in my Domestica course, when I show my method basically there, I always begin from sketches, also because you have to catch the first feeling you have when you see it. And so to catch it and to fix it on the page, this feeling, you have to draw it as soon as possible, immediately. So no matters if it is just a very bad doodle or something like that, but just to fix down and to figure out the point of view, because maybe in I don't know, in a few hours maybe you have forgotten it, but it's very important to fix it, to remember it, because the following day you will find all these views, all these feelings on your Moleskine, for example, on your notebooks, and you can develop from these feelings all a new castle of things, basing or just on this first doodle. So the doodle is like a first, I don't know, seed, and then the plant is coming out from these seeds after all. You can make it develop later.
Nice. And about the composition of your drawings, you put some vegetations in the drawings. You put wherever you want, you represent exactly the place that the tree or that the vegetation are, or you open your mind and put wherever you think it would be good to the drawing?
Vegetation is a very complicated thing.
Yeah, it's very complicated.
As an architect, as an urbanist, that vegetation is more and more important now, because it's very important to consider also the vegetation. I normally, when I depict a city, when I want to draw a city, a real corner, real city, I have to use the vegetation, the kind of trees of these cities, because otherwise it's like a lie. I want to find out the identity of the city. If I make a palm in London, is not true. I mean, it's just maybe in it's not true. So I don't find the identity there, like in this way. So I must respect the reality in this case. Maybe use some fantasy somehow. It's not exactly that tree, but it's this kind of species. Is this kind of species. But if I do, for example, fantastic drawing and using my fantasy, of course I can use a lot of vegetation, but still in the composition the vegetation can be sometimes also a negative symbolic thing, because when as an architect, when you put for example under a stairs, you don't know what to put there, and some architects say, okay, let's put a vase with a plant. It's really bad, because it means that you don't have an idea what I do there. Okay, let's put a plant. So also in the composition, in the drawing is the same thing. It's better not to use too much the plant just because you want to feel a place or with something that it's very easy to do it with some plant, because it's like the god who is solving every problem. But it's not true, because at the end you have the feeling that, okay, I did not have any idea, so I used the plan, and this is quite clear in interior design, just like in a drawing. So
nice.
It's also a suggestion to all the architects or people who are trying to fix problems with plants. That is,
it's very nice to say this, because sometimes I thought it's just here in Brazil that the students do this, but it seems not, because every 3 or 4th semester in the architecture course, there is an empty space in the drawing. Oh, what you put that? Oh, it will be vegetation. I will put some trees here and complete to complete the space. To complete the space, there is an empty space. I will put the vegetation. But the vegetation, as you said, it's a very delicate thing to draw and project in architecture, because if you color too much your vegetation, the vegetation will be always the main character of the drawing, in my opinion. There is some architects around the world, Renzo Piano, the Italian architect, there is some drawings that he just colored the vegetations. Everything is black and white, and the vegetation is green, and it's beautiful, but it's a type of drawing. And the students sometimes have a little bit difficult to understand why the artist or the architecture did this. It's because there is a technique in and they think it's just because the vegetation is good and it's beautiful and it's let's put there. So it's very cool you say that, because it seems this happen all around the world as well. So about vegetation. About your art in general. What do you think it's more difficult to reach? When you said at the beginning about the Picasso art. So you look at Picasso art, you said, that's Picasso. And I have the same feeling with your art. If I saw a drawing of your draw, I said, this is Carlo Stanga draw. You think it's difficult to illustrator, artist to reach this point of the pattern of your style? You think it's difficult?
If you are able to be yourself, and this can be difficult, and not to be too much influenced by other artists or other people, it's very important to have some artists you like very much and you feel inspired by. Also old artists, also dead artists. But it's very important to be able to be yourself and step by step to create a style, but without really the idea to create a style. You find yourself when you say, oh, I like it, and I see that also the other people say, oh, this is you. And then you can make a kind of list of things that are very characteristic of you, a certain kind of line, a use of shadows, the use of colors, and you see, okay, it was very pleasant to make this drawing. And the first thing that is very important to understand if this drawing is going to be good is that you are feel good when you're doing it. Because if it's not going to be good, you feel that it's not coming, just like in the kitchen, just cooking. There's something that is not working. And yes, and then when you feel that you have reached a certain kind of result, and it is matching with yourself, with your soul, and you feel it, you just feel it. And of course, it's always also a comparison with the other people, because the other people recognize it. They see that you are in this drawing. As you said before, I recognize you when I see your drawing. I understand that it is a Carlo Stanga. I understand that it is many others different kind of illustrators. There are so many people who are making wonderful things today.
Sure.
And it's very beautiful, and it's very important to recognize them. Sometimes there are groups of illustrators who are making the same things more or less, and sometimes it's not very easy to recognize them. I don't know if it happens to you sometimes, but sometimes they are very similar, and I think in this case it's very important to find your real identity, your personality, niche, and because it's better for you, for yourself. You are not a team, you are not in a team, you are not a part of a soccer team, and where it's not important which one is better than the other or so, but it's very important to be recognizable. For my work, for example, it's very important because there are so many people who are making wonderful things. But you need to be recognized. You need to offer to the client something that is very different, unique compared to the other. And so, not better, not worse, but just
you in the paper. You transfer yourself at the paper.
They call Augusto Fonseca just because he is Augusto Fonseca, not because they want some. So this is very important because,
Nice. Why I ask you this? Because now in the final of our conversation, I want you to say to the students, I hear a lot of people, and you, I think you hear as well, saying this. I didn't draw because I draw bad. My drawing it's ugly. So there is such a thing, a bad drawing, a good drawing, are people who or you think when the people who loves to draw, that's what's important, the feeling in the paper.
What is very important is that, of course, as I told you before, you need to do it, and you do it. What is very important is to do it when you need to do it. It's not to say, oh, I am afraid because I need to do it, but the people say I don't draw well, I made just doodles, it's awful, so I'm very shy, I don't do it, and I'm shy not just with the other people, but I'm shy with myself. That is really bad. Terrible. So I block myself. I cannot go on. This is very bad. You have to set yourself completely free and do it. And what is always important in drawing and illustration or this kind of graphic activities is to work, to draw. When you have this need, even though you have to go to eat a pizza with the friends, maybe, make a doodle, make a sketch about go to have some fun, but when you come back, do it, because if you leave everything there and you don't do it, you will never know if you can reach some kind of result, if you can be more happy. I always say to follow your diamond. As the ancient Greeks, I'm a big fan of the ancient Greek civilization because I studied Greek when I was younger, and they knew very well this need, this spirit, that is your talent, is your diamond. Your diamond is then the church called this the devil, the evil, the daimon, the demon. To change it, but in the ancient Greek, daimon is a very positive spirit that you have yourself, and he is really what you are really destined to do in this world. And so if you have this kind of artistic diamond, this is the reason why you are on earth, and you have to do it. And if you find it, if you do it, I'm sure you love architecture because your diamond is an architectural diamond. You need to follow architecture. You need to do town planning, all these things, because it's beautiful. You like it. And you are connected with your best feelings and the best part of yourself if you follow your diamond. Because, in the ancient Greeks call happiness eudaimonia, that is the good diamond. In ancient Greek is that. So if you are happy, it means that you are following the deepest and best part of yourself. So
very nice.
It's very important to follow this, and because if you do this, you are happier, and also you make happy also the other people, because you are producing good things that are also enjoyable by the other peoples. You are feeling better, you are smiling, the other people also feel better.
Yeah.
So everything, this beautiful mood, this good move is sprawling around you, and it's very important. But this is the case of, you are speaking about the artistic diamond, but maybe one person can have a financial diamond and he likes to work in a bank. Why not?
Yeah.
If he's happy, he's happy. If you like cleaning windows and you're happy because you are like cleaning places, you are happy, you have to do it. I mean, sometimes it is very difficult, especially for artists or grew up in a very bourgeois and conservative family, and they say, oh, please, you have to be a notary because your father is a notary. You don't have to be an artist, please. You don't have to be that. But if you will be a notary, well, you probably will make a lot of money, but we will never really happy. So if you don't follow your diamond, and you don't do what really you are,
you'll be always in circle, always in the same.
Honesty, and yes, honesty with yourself first.
Yeah, it's the primary thing, I think.
Absolutely.
So to finish our conversation, there is some advice you want to say to the students here in Brazil that loves your work? There's a lot of people who loves your work here. A lot of people here in Brazil. It's a huge fan. I have two professors that are huge fan of your work.
Thank you.
And what you, Carlo Stanga, have to say to the people here?
I think that what I said during our pleasant conversation, it's already full of different kind of suggestions. Mainly, I say the main rule for me about drawing is to draw. I mean, you have to do it. You have to take a lot of draw, and don't care about people, at least at the beginning, because if after 9 years you are drawing all these people, it's pure shit, okay, maybe there's some problem. But maybe not. It's just because they are the wrong people, they are not expert, they don't understand. So you don't have to care about this. You have to go on with this. You have for sure to have also to learn some technique about also, so to go maybe to make some course, to go to a school, to have a kind of professional frame in general, because all these techniques, all these academic things are coming from people who drew before you, centuries before you, and learned things and created this knowledge in the past. But then you have to add your personal experience, your vision to this knowledge, and decide to get rid of it if you consider old and useless for you, is not matching with your identity, or improve it. So if you want to use the one vanishing point perspective, you can do it. If you like in the cubism, like once again Picasso and so on, you say, oh, this is really not interesting. I want to show the work in another way. You can change it. But first, you also have to know something of the art history and everything to keep it or to make without it. So it's what is really important is to find yourself by drawing and learning by observing a lot from the artist, the other people. You can go also in internet, but please also find many things in books, go to exhibitions, because many people think that everything is in Google now, but it's not.
Yeah, it's very important to say that.
Yeah,
very important, Carlo.
It's not
Thank
true.
you, because everything things that the internets are here to resolve all the things that you know, all the problems.
Absolutely.
And it's important you go see the art and physically the art to
absolutely
to feel, to do this feeling that we are talking about, the feeling.
And the other important things when you use internet in this pandemic situation, we use more than before internet. Is that many students, for example, are looking in Google Image and they are scrolling on many different images, but in a very shallow, superficial way. And when you find something that is good, you can collect it in a folder, but this is not enough. That is, this image inspires you. You have to go, it's much better because you can find more enthusiasm about that. You have to go behind this image and trying to find out who is the person who made it, which is his history, who is this artist. You have to go back behind it and to see what is all the scenery that there is behind this. If you find out something by David Hockney, for example, and you like this vase with flowers, and it's not just like that. If you go to study deeply and deepen this image and find out the history of this fantastic artist, you can enter a world, a complete new world with a lot of inspiration, with a lot of new life for your brain. It's really food for your brain. So don't just scroll on this image and collect them like this, but deepen them. This is my suggestion.
I agree 100%. Carlo Stanga, everybody. Thank you very much to talk to the Art Search.